Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, February 1st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker number one, SOXS, and very nice move. And this one bottomed out here several days ago and has been grinding higher and higher ever since. So it did pull back a little bit today, but that sets up what I think is going to be a pretty big showdown and potential self-fulfilling prophecies, meaning when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it that self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. And you got to think that everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be watching that pink line up there on my chart. You know, it's the very well-known, very famous 200 period moving average. So while nothing is guaranteed, because that line's going to continue to, slope downwards like that. So it's basically like a trend line that's drawn itself for you. So point being is no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that the price comes up here and gets a break up through that trend line, or it's not even a trend line, but you know what I mean, the moving average, but breaks up through that moving average, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure because people are going to be saying, hey, I'm a breakout trader. Oh, look, that's breaking out. Oh, I'm supposed to buy. And then they buy. And then you just have a bunch of people doing that. Yes, that is a more than plausible scenario. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but definitely one of those situations where when you know a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, you can get those sorts of price movements. In terms of areas of support, with that level of resistance broken, first key update, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support, and that is exactly what played out here. So classic example, kind of a double whammy. You had that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, and you had that other area right there. So good to see them act as support. So if the price does roll back over, then that'll be, once again, the general area that you're going to want to watch in terms of will it hold as support or not. But as of right now, the price is looking like it wants to do battle with that 200-period moving average. So can it break through? We'll see what happens over the next couple of days. Next one here, ticker symbol CNXA, and first key update comes about on just what I did on the last one. When levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And got a little bit close today, right there. But if this pullback does continue, that'll be the main level that you got to think a lot of those pullback players are watching and wondering about right there at about 30.5 cents. So keep an eye on that moving forward from a pullback standpoint. In terms of areas of resistance, pretty much just a question of that trend line right there. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive with that, you could do something like, it's that data point right there that's kind of throwing things off a little bit. Not throwing it off to make it wrong, but just you can't really draw any other sort of trend lines. So that's gonna be the main one to watch. If you prefer more so the flat levels of resistance, then a level right there at 50 cents could be another level that you use. So that'll just have to be down to your personal preference. But point here being is, big surge up the opening 30 minutes. But now have this pullback right here. But if you factor in this movement right here, what I've now actually been able to draw is a bull flag pattern. So if you like bull flags, you like penny stocks, keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol PLUG. And not totally similar to what I just talked about, but relatively similar, meaning, yes, there's no doubt about it. This afternoon, there has been this pullback here. You can't deny that. But assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, you would be asking yourself, okay, yeah, Clay, fair enough. It's pulled back this afternoon. But what was happening before this pullback? Well, you had this big old movement right here, which is now giving me the ability to once again draw a bull flag pattern. So same general idea. I'd say the biggest difference here is that instead of this one being a penny stock, it's one of these down below the $5 mark. So maybe you don't like penny stocks, but you do like bull flags, but you like to be right around that $5 range. And if that is describing you, then this is definitely a situation that you'd probably want to keep an eye on for Thursday. Next one, ticker symbol NYCB, and quite the eventful day today. Got the big gap down, but to give some credit's due, from where it was at its lows to where it was eventually able to bounce to. Good solid bounce here, no doubt about that, but that does lead to the question of, but is there any sort of genuine power behind this bounce? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it revolves around this area down here at the $6.10 mark. Why is 6.10 important? I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break to the downside, what would that be doing? That would be quite literally putting the price right back into this range where it was before the downwards move. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make nice bounces and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. But on the flip side of things, maybe the price comes down here, behaves like this, and then starts to curl back upwards. Now, all of a sudden, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there. you'd have lows there. And if you envision those as stair steps, well, now you have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's what a truly strong move is going to do. Nothing can go straight up, but it is going to at least show signs of progress. And again, in this situation, the quote unquote sign of progress is being staying above 610. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and the sideways channel strikes again. Price was all over the place today, so let me just offer up a little more context there. But, at the core has basically, well, not basically, it has come all the way back down, and it's now looking like it'll be testing the bottom part of this channel down here at 404. Now, I am going to make one adjustment now that we have more data. It's seemingly more accurate. The top level of the range, give or take, is right up there around $4.27. I realize the price has still come up there through a couple of times, but there's still there's a bunch of other times where the price bounced directly off that level. But point here being, we don't want to get caught in the weeds in terms of, well, I think it should be this or I think it should be that, and then you're arguing about like a 4-cent difference. The point here being is that this thing does continue to go sideways, but it's having a hard time in both directions. Bulls are having a hard time building in momentum to the upside. Bears are having a hard time building any sort of momentum to the downside. But the big question mark headed into tomorrow is certainly because the price has rolled all the way back over, is what's going to happen with 404? Is 404 going to continue to hold strong as it's done these past couple of situations? Or is this about to be a much bigger break to the downside? Those will be the main questions headed into Thursday. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. Next one, ticker symbol MINM, and good solid pattern here. Then, so we, circling back to those talking points of self-fulfilling prophecies. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some sort of, situation where nobody else has, looked at these same general areas. But we have an area of resistance here. We have that support down there. Let me change that to green to represent support. So yes, it has pulled back, and you probably know because I've said this already, but yes, it has pulled back in the near term. But what was happening before this pullback? Well, there was this big old move right here. So we once again have ourselves a nice solid bull flag pattern. So if you like bull flags, you like stocks right around that $5 mark, I would definitely keep an eye on this one. Next one here, AMD, and I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that level, even though it still does pertain, because there's just a much easier and simpler way to look at this. And that has to do with the level I've talked about in past stocks, but all about that pink line there, that 200 paired moving average, which I know I talked about in past videos, was going to be an area of support you'd want to keep an eye on. And so far, so good through the craziness of today. You can see it came down there, found some support. Bearish tried again and failed once again, found some support. And yeah, there is a little bit of a pullback right now. So does the price pull back even more? If it does, well, then once again, you have that same question. Will the price hold as it's been doing back in that area? But as of now, logic would say, hey, you know what? You'd probably want to think that it's going to bounce because it's bounced twice before. It does not mean that it'll bounce a third time, but nobody could call you crazy for thinking that it could bounce again, given its track record. So if you like to play bounces, like to play, sort of pullback type situations around key areas of support, then I'd certainly keep an eye on that pink line there. And then in terms of areas of resistance, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this level down as it's a little bit more relevant. And that initial area of resistance is going to be right there, right around 169.50. And if the price can push up through there, next key level after that would be up there, that purple line there, which you now know is a 50 paired moving average. And you can see a couple examples already back here of it acting as resistance. But one hurdle at a time, that first key hurdle at the 169.50 mark. So we'll see if this does come back down. And if it does, can that 200 paired moving average hold? We'll see what happens. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and had a good opening part of the day as it gapped down and then made a nice move up here. Granted, the Fed did make their announcement and it's pulled back here, but Tesla's been quite a bit disconnected from the markets anyways. But point being, the level that I would say carries a whole lot of weight into tomorrow, and one that I'm not going to call it a do or die level, but I'm going to definitely call it very important, and that is right here at the 186 mark, just for the simple reason of if the price were to come down here and break down below it, now all of a sudden, let's do this real quick. But if that were to occur and the price comes down in this area right here, well, what do you now have? Well, now you have the price having gone right back into this range where it had already been. And as I already talked about in the previous one, movements where you have good solid bounces that then just go right back to where they were, by no means any sort of true power. In fact, you would just call those dead cat bounces. So am I willing to call this a dead cat bounce yet? I'm not willing to call Tesla a dead cat bounce. But if it does break down below 186 and then pick up a little bit more momentum to the downside, at that point, I would feel more than confident in saying total dead cat bounce, and then start to question if this thing's even going to break down through lows. If this does try to turn itself around, key area of resistance to watch very closely, going to be right up there at 196.50. Next one, PHUN. Very nice day today, as it was starting to look a little shaky as the price was getting near that area of support and potentially saying, is this thing going to go drop down to that 200 period moving average? But it didn't. Nice surge today. And yeah, you guessed it. We do have a bit of a pullback right here. But what was happening before the pullback? Nice bounce. So in a very miniature sense, nice little bull flag pattern here that has formed. So today's been the watch list of bull flags apparently. But another bull flag on a penny stock. So if you like bull flags, you like penny stocks, here you go. Next one, ticker symbol TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. So if you believe the NASDAQ market is going to go up, this one will also go up. And that is why this one had a very rough day, because, yeah, NASDAQ had a rough day, and therefore this one did too. Very crazy price movement right there. But again, that was when the Fed made their announcement. So spike up and then has rolled back down, which now creates a very interesting situation, because you can see the price is hovering right there around that pink line. So is this area ultimately going to hold? Or are the bears going to pick up more momentum and separate even further to the downside, which is a very realistic possibility at this point. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those levels as they serve their purpose for now. But yes, the primary area of support right now is certainly going to be that 200 period moving average. But in the event the price does not hold above it and starts to break down below it, I do want to get another level of support mapped out just in case this thing potentially tries to attempt even more momentum to the downside, with the next key area of support being right there at the $52 mark. In fact, I'm going to do a support zone. So 52 being the top of the zone, and then 51.75 being the bottom of the zone. So I would expect this to be a very stubborn level. I'm not saying the bears can't break through it, but if the bears do make an approach to it, I would be shocked if the price just cut right down through there like a warm knife through butter. I think the bulls will be able to put up a pretty good fight. So I would say you're more than rational to think that there could be a bounce from that area. But once again, final time, no guarantees, and that's why risk management matters. In terms of areas of resistance, one level that I think stands out quite a bit right there at that trend line. And then even if the price does break through there, I wouldn't get overly excited, because you still have to worry now about that 50 period moving average, which you can see going back to yesterday had already started to begin to act as resistance. But definitely a rough day today. We'll see if this level here can hold, or if this thing's going to be headed down to 52. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely go get signed up for that free webinar. It'll be very soon, Thursday, February 1st. At 7 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos, if you enjoy these, do a couple things for me. Hit that like button, leave a comment below, say hi, tell me your watch list for tomorrow, tell me what you traded today. But those things really help out the channel, help out these videos, and as long as I know you're enjoying, then I will continue to put in the time and effort to get this content out to you. So hit that like button, leave a comment below, go get signed up for the free webinar. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.